By the way, do we have any free trial folks in here today? Anybody on a free trial? Anybody just sign up or taking a free trial? Fitzroy, Carlos, Chris, Newman. Second week. Okay, good. All right, let's see here. I'm going to flip over. I want to show a couple of things before we wrap the session here today. And my apologies. We were doing this quite a bit last week, and we stopped doing it for a couple of days. We try to do these early morning recaps of trades that had set up from the morning, and we just recorded. It's a very short session. It'll only be 5-10 minutes tops, and then we'll try to do some screenshots and send those out so people see the trades that set up in the morning. But this was the EMD trade from earlier, and I wanted to show a couple of things here real quick. First of all, you could see that our 12 range guidance dots were telling us to look for a short trade. This is what you see in the room on Gary's charts. These are the part of the pro package here that tell you that you were pretty much looking to trade the short side this morning. Now, our pre-market assessment, what we did is we saw that there was a resistance line up here right around this 880 level. And we had a couple levels of support. We had one kind of right around this 877 level right here. And if you recall that Rich had called out the swing from the swing low from yesterday over here, which is where we actually took the short. You could have front run a little bit and actually shorted up in here, but this swing low was actually at 76.80, I believe it was, 76.80, 76.90, just a couple of ticks under that 77 level. And you see here, for instance, we were come all the way down here. We were kind of pinging the 77. Boom, 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 came up. This is right around the open. The open was right here at 6:30. Here's the open right here. Came up, never took out resistance, never even checked it. So we were looking to short this right here, and we did. We took the short. And then essentially it just fell off the map. Just dropped very precipitously. And down we go, down we go, down we go, down we go, and then somewhere down in here we stopped out. I want to say it was 66.20 or 50. I can't remember exactly where we got out down here, but I was actually Skyping with some traders who took this and caught. A lot of them didn't get all 100 ticks of it, but a lot got 90 of it. If you got 90 of the trade here, that'd be on one contract, $10 a tick. That'd be about $900. So here you have what we call a one and done trade. Pretty much, I think most folks would be pretty happy with $1,100 on the first trade of the day and stop trading. I want to show this same trade on the Russell. Here's the Russell over here. Of course, it's going to look almost identical to EMD. Just real quick. And I can't remember if we called out the Russell trade or not. I think we did. But obviously you can see there was a little consolidation patch right here. TF, this is what we call the Roosty in the room, taking out that support level at 26. Down she went. All the equities, if you recall, had a beautiful breakdown. Dow, everything, cash markets broke down. Beautiful, nice short trade to the downside here. Took the break at around 76, 726-ish, and you probably stopped out around, well, just north of 16. So that was pretty close to another 100-tick drop from the breakdown level right here. I think, Gary, you actually took this one, right?
Yeah, I got that TF move.
Yeah, I think you shorted Russell. I was trading EMD. Another nice, just beautiful drop right off the map. And then we did have some follow-on trades here. Coming back over here, let's take a look at EMD, chopping around a little bit. Let's go over and look at the end of the story. And then we had a nice little run up here. This was the pop-up. Of course, we have the news. The news was at 7 o'clock, and we get this little shotgun effect here. See the bars shooting around? And then we had a nice break to the upside here. If you were of the mind, you could have taken a little pop breakout trade to the upside, kind of clawed its way up. And then now, of course, you see it rolled over and heading back south. All right, so that was pretty much the morning. By the way, just to show you real quick on the condensed chart, this is what Rich was making note of earlier, that it actually had broke all the way down here, put in a fresh low, came all the way back up before the news, a little bit of shotgun at the news. I know it looked like there was a trade in here Actually, like we show in most days, right around 7 o'clock when you get this shotgunning of bars, you really don't want to get in the middle of that. I know it looks like there was a couple of trades in here, but the first couple of 5-10 minutes after the news when it's kind of shotgunning these bars up and down, see how it wasn't taking out resistance or support? See how it was in a big old soupy mess? It broke to the upside, all the equities kind of had a little break up, and then they rolled over. Came all the way back here to the breakdown level. Remember we were saying there's a lot of resistance at 77. If you're long, take your profits up here. Remember? See how we had that line from earlier? So the point of the story here is that just taking a few minutes of your time to plot out some support and resistance levels early in the day and throughout the morning really can make a big difference in your trading. Big difference in your trading, seeing these support and resistance levels. All right, I think that's all I had for today. We'll try to send some screenshots out of this. Any questions on what's set up here? Questions? Questions on the trades from this morning? By the way, anybody take these? Mark W., I know if you're still here, I know you took it. You were Skyping me after you took it. Anybody else take these? Anybody else catch a chunk of these trades here this morning? Carlos, Steve did? Okay. A couple of you in a free trial took it in Sim. Nasir shorted YM. You know what? Let's pull a YM chart up real quick. I know some of you trade the YM, and we haven't done that justice. Hold on a second. Let me get that chart up. Should look pretty much like this one, but might not. Steven caught it. Okay, good. Let's take a little peek at our friend, Mr. YM man over here. Oh, yeah, here you go. All right, here's the short on YM. This is $5 a tick, by the way. It for the most part follows the other equities. So, for instance, if we're observing the market breaking down on the Russell and EMD and for the most part Nasdaq, you can see here we had a very similar situation on YM. Actually, a little bit divergent in the fact that you had kind of a swing level here from yesterday that would turn out to be a resistance level right up in here. See it? By the way, we show this a lot in our webinars, and I'll just quickly say it here. A healthy way to think of support and resistance is areas. Areas. Everybody wants to say, well, there was strong resistance at 11,790. And that may be true. In some cases, these support and resistance areas are very clean where it hits it and bounces, right? In other cases, it'll poke through it by a couple of ticks up and down, see? So you have to sort of look at areas bounded by a few ticks on either side of the line there. So anyway, the 12 range was short. Here we have our initial breakdown pre-market. Market breaks down, sells off. You get a couple little swings here. You got one here and here. 12 range guidance was short. Here's the swing to the upside. You can see this little bounce at the open. Never checked or broke it. Just hit resistance and rolled. Putting a couple of these lines on your charts really makes a big difference, I'm telling you, straight up. So you have really kind of two shorting opportunities on with respect to YM here. You had this swing right here pre-market. You may have had marked on your chart, kind of right in here. Call it 770-ish, 11,770-ish. And then, of course, you had a little pre-market swing right in here, just a few ticks under the 780 mark. So from a shorting perspective, anywhere in this area right here was your shorting opportunity. You could, any manner of entry, you could have put line trader here. It's a nice tool we have in the pro package, line trader. Put your stops and targets in, manages a stop for you, so you don't have to manually move it around. You could have put a sell order in here. You could have done a market order on a dome. Any way of getting in. This was essentially your short opportunity on YM. Stephen, by the way, I know you shorted that. Where'd you get filled? Curious. Do you remember where you got? Or no, Nasir. Nasir shorted. Anybody short this? By the way, here was your stop out on YM was down in this area right here, 11,700 or so, plus or minus a few ticks. See where he came up and you stopped out here. So your trade was essentially from about 770-ish. If you caught the lower break, yeah, Nasir got filled short at 772. So if you're trading YM, which of course we don't have this chart up in the room, but we're observing the fact that the other equities are breaking down nicely. EMD is getting crushed, Roosty's falling off the map, NASDAQ is breaking down, and you see this setup on a YM chart on your screen, obviously you're going to want to come in here and pop the short. Pop the short. It's going to follow the other equities down. Now this trade here at $5 a tick, say you got short at 70-ish, the lower line here, and you get stopped out at, 700 even-ish, plus or minus a few ticks. What is that, 70 times 5? So about 350. Between $350 and $400 would have been this trade right here, which I think I've Skyped with a lot of traders and talked with a lot of traders, both those that have signed up here and a lot of folks in free trials. $350, $400 would be a good morning. It'd be a one-and-done trade right there. Done. Pop your short, $350, $400. And by the way, at the apex of this short here, depending on your fill, got all the way down under 680 right there. See it? So even if you got filled at this higher level, 80, and it got all the way down to here, this was the better part of $500. Now, if you're happy with a $500 trade, you don't have to wait for this retracement. I know we always say watch the stops, give it some wiggle room, allow it, because at this point here, we don't know if it's going to roll and check that swing and then roll over and continue down. But after, markets have dropped 80, 100, 120 ticks very precipitously like this, you can pretty much anticipate a bounce. If you were up 5 bills, there's nothing wrong with hitting market order close. Market order close. You don't have to wait for these retraces to happen. Nothing wrong with banking the coin when it's in the bank there. Just lock it down and turn off the machine. Or go into sim. You hear us say all the time, nicely green, turn off the machine. What we're saying is go into sim mode. You could have traded the rest of the day in sim and locked your $500, $400 down. That's it. All right, well, that's all I had to show. Is there anything else anybody wanted to see here before we wrap the session? All in all, it was a pretty good morning. I know we had some good trades also on crude oil. That was sailing around today. Really nice moves on crude oil. By the way, anybody? How many of us in here trade CL? Anybody? Any crude oil traders in here? CL traders? I know the dollar and 6E were a little choppy this morning, but sometimes we get that. And, if those markets are choppy, we just stay out of them. Okay, Lisa, Lauren, Steve. I just have a 6 tick up here because this was, to be honest with you, a chart that was on another screen. I just dragged it over. You could have traded this on a 4, Steve. I didn't even notice that was a 6. I just had made note of the fact that it pretty much followed the other markets. A 4 would look very similar to this. Might have got you in a little earlier, might have got you out a little sooner because of 4. Let's see, Stephen, Alex, Lauren, Lisa. Okay, so we got like 3 or 4 crude oil traders.
And Charles, on Fitzroy's question, the 12-range guidance, Fitzroy, are 12-range guidance dots that we use for the overall trend. That way we don't take the trades against it unless we know that we're counter-trending, like with a probe trade or something like that. But, if you see those dots, for instance, are, blue on Charles's chart versus the kind of a purple color there, that's the difference of short and long. And then you just wait for a beautiful probe trade, get in the trade to the way the dots are going. Don't just get sucked into every little thrust. We try to take these trades, pretty intelligently and get these nice moves. That oil move, to give an example, earlier was just unreal.
Yeah, knocked it out of the park.
Yeah. And even if you miss the 100 tick, retracement down, it's no big deal if you're nicely green.
Exactly. So your question here, Steve, on the 4. This is what a 4 would look like. Of course, the moves are a little more pronounced with a 4. Retracements and the support levels are a little more pronounced on a 4. For instance, this little poke up here. This was not an indication to get long. Just to let you know, these little pokes up here, pre-market like this, before the market opens, clearly we were having guidance on all the equities to look for short trades. Trade still set up in here. Same setups. No difference on the short. Your opportunity for entry was in this circle right here. When it took out that level of support and that level of support, it started heading south. Any manner of entry in the circle here. And of course, like I said, with a 4, it actually probably would have stopped out a little earlier down here and probably in this 692-ish area. Yeah, so 4, same trade setup, just a little more granularity, a little more detail than a 6. Still taking guidance from the 12, which of course was short. Okay, all right. Any final questions on the equity trades from today? We did record this little session, this little 10-15 minute recap. We'll send it out along with some screenshots. We'll try to do those every day, especially for those of you in free trials. I know